Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I don't know if there's anything new to talk about in regards to the Lakers as far as what I've been paying attention to, but I did want to turn on the camera and bump my gums, so we'll figure out what comes out of my mouth. But essentially, I do second Darvin Ham's point of view is we're not ducking any fades of smoke, man. I'm glad that that's the point of view that we were able to see him take. And the team represent that in what he said. You know, I ain't gonna speak for anyone else. I wanted to hear that from the team because I want to know where they stand as it pertains to how they feel mentally going up against the Nuggets. You know, I think Anthony Davis summed it up pretty well. I paraphrase, but essentially what he was saying is if they beat us, they beat us, but we're gonna face them. You know, we're not ducking them, and that is what it's all about. I think the Denver Nuggets are obviously a team that has beaten us repeatedly 10 times in a row now. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. But I think because we've had so much failure against them, it should be on our minds in a very special way what we've done wrong and what we can control. Now, some things may be matchup based, but we've had big leads against this team. We just haven't executed well down the stretch. And a lot of that, I think, has nothing to do with matchups, but more so to do with the difference in the mindset of the teams. Both of these teams know that they can have leads against one another, but one of them believes that they can make every shot down the stretch, and the other doesn't seem to understand that that confidence is necessary. And that's really what it comes down to. If you have the confidence to get a 12, 13-point lead against this team, then there's nothing that they're doing matchup-wise that you can't match in your own way. Maybe you can't defend them in a way that you would prefer, or maybe you don't have the matchups to really push them around, but you're able to score on your own merit. You just got to do more of it, you know, and that's really what it comes down to. That's why I think scoring is so important in this series. Defense is important, but not nearly as important as riding the hot hand, feeding the hot hand, and scoring a lot of points. I really think that. Because the problem that we have is that they out-execute us down the stretch. But if the score is too out of whack for them to do so, then they can score all the points they want in the fourth quarter. We're still going to be up. And you want to end the game with more points than the other team, obviously. And that's really where my mindset is. It's not about getting stops. You will need to get stops. You don't want deficient defensive players on the floor, particularly against Jamal Murray. But some of this other stuff, like trying to stop Jokic from getting 15 assists or 30 points, some of those things, that's not going to happen. You're not going to stop him from doing what he does. What you need to do is what you do more than he does what he does. That's it. It's about quality possessions and execution. It's not about defensive principles. It's not about anything other than scoring more points than them. Period. And I think we really need to run the score up every night. Every single night of this series. I don't want to score anything less than 120 points if we can pull it off. Now, maybe we have an off night. You don't want to overshoot. You don't want to just jack up bad shots, which is really, really serious. It's discipline that has to be followed here. We don't want role players like Spencer Dinwiddie jacking up bull crap, throwing possessions away. It will get you beaten. This team is not the team you can do that against. But like Bron said, if we play our best ball and they play their best ball, it's going to come down to who executes down the stretch, and we'll see what happens. But you do have to play your best ball. And what you can't do is take offensive potency off the floor for the possibility of defensive stops. It just can't happen in this series. A lot of what we did against the Denver Nuggets in the regular season was a bunch of stuff we should not have done. We saw them, we started Taurean Prince. We saw them, we put Cam Reddish on the floor for defensive reasonings. And you left yourself without the proper spacing and the proper offense on the floor. We've learned a lot since the last time we saw the Denver Nuggets. And I think the most important thing for us to do is, and I'm seconding someone else who said this, is have the mental edge at the beginning of the series. We must steal game one. And the second thing is, you can't get dejected by the things that the Denver Nuggets are prone to do. they're prone to erase your deficit. They score a lot. They have a very, very genius basketball player down there who's going to get everybody involved. They have excellent catch and shoot players like KCP and Porter and obviously Murray. They're going to catch, they're going to shoot, they're going to play well. What you cannot do is let Holiday beat you. You can't let, Reggie Jackson beat you. These are players that you cannot allow to get off. If you let them get off, it's all bad from there. So that's what I'm paying attention to. Can we get the mental edge? And if we don't, can we stay upright in character? Meaning, not fall apart if the referees don't give us a call. Not fall apart if somebody misses an assignment on our team. Not fall apart if Jamal Murray rings off 4 threes in a row. These are the type of things that could be the difference. Keeping your poise could be the difference. It may not necessarily be in the X's and O's. It may just be in the mentality of what you can withstand. If they win the first 2 games, can you keep your poise? These type of things are real in a series against a team that's obviously got you in a number of areas. It's about poise. It's about execution. It's about mental toughness. And it's about stopping the bleeding. Because the bleeding is going to happen. You're going to bleed in this series. If the Denver Nuggets are themselves, if they're playing like they're supposed to play, you're going to be down by 10 in this series in certain situations. Your lead is going to disappear, and they're going to take the lead back from you. Can you keep your mental poise? Because everybody's concerned, and listening to people talk about this series, a lot of Laker fans and Laker analysts are concerned about the Lakers keeping their poise. They haven't worded it that way, but essentially they say the Lakers have to get the first game because if they don't, and Denver beats us down the stretch, it's a wrap. Only if the Lakers react to what the Denver Nuggets are prone to do, which is play well down the stretch of basketball games in a way that carries over into the next ball game. Let's get this in our heads right now. There are going to be games in this series where we expect the Denver Nuggets to out-execute us. Period. So when it happens, don't let it slouch your shoulders. When it happens, don't let it keep you from coming back in the next game with a certain mentality that allows for you to play confident. You got to already expect certain things. When we used to play against the San Antonio Spurs in some of those years where Timmy was down there and Manu was down there, the idea for the Lakers was to not get dejected when the Spurs went on their runs. Because I used to liken the playing against them as going up against a rattlesnake. A rattlesnake will squeeze you, and when it's broken all your bones, then it will devour you. That's how they used to play us. Through 3 quarters, it would be a tough basketball game. 3 quarters. You have a 1-point lead at the end of the 3rd quarter and lose by 25 because they would blitz you in the 4th quarter. The Denver Nuggets are like that. They're exactly like that. What you got to do is try to blitz them early. Blitz them early. Have a 15, 20-point lead if at all possible early. And that way, when they do come roaring back, it's more of a cushion for you as a team to withstand when they go on those runs. It's about the mentality of the squad. What are we doing? Are we putting players on the floor to try to stop people that are unstoppable? Are we meeting them with what we know is unstoppable on our end? Is our bench winning the matchup? Because we definitely have a more accomplished bench. Are we meeting size with size? And we got to understand something. Players like Christian Braun, I want to call him Braun so bad, but it's Christian Braun. I wish he would just allow people to call him Christian Braun. That spelling doesn't make any sense at all. But whatever, Christian Braun. And then you got players like that power forward coming off the bench that went to UCLA. I wish his name would come to mind, but I think y'all know who I'm talking about. Their young guy who's going to play defense hellaciously. He's going to block shots. That's where he makes his money. Occasionally he'll hit a 3. You don't want him getting hot. But these are the type of players that we're going to have to win our battle against. We need Jackson Hayes if he's going to get some minutes. I don't know how coach wants to do it. He needs to win his matchup against that particular player. No, I'm sorry, I don't smoke. You too. We're going to need our players in a situation like that. Taurean Prince is going to have to outplay Justin Holiday. You know, it's got to happen like that. Otherwise, we don't have a chance. In my humble opinion, we got to win the bench points. We got to win the bench game, basically. So, yeah, man, I'm looking for the Lakers to play well against the Denver Nuggets. I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people, and rightfully so, given the fact that they've beat us many times in a row. But a lot of the things that we've done to make our team better, they really haven't seen us do against them. They haven't seen a Laker team with Gabe Vincent. They haven't seen a Laker team that doesn't start Taurean Prince. They haven't seen a Laker team that can get the most out of Spencer Dinwiddie, because last time we had Dinwiddie on the floor against them, he didn't play well. So it's a lot of stuff that goes on into what I think we're going to be able to throw at the Denver Nuggets versus what it is that they've seen against us. And I hope they come in a certain level of cocky, thinking they know what we're throwing at them. Not taking into account that LeBron had a foot injury last year, that AD had a foot injury last year, that when we saw them during the regular season this year, our rotations were messed up. And we didn't have certain players that we're going to throw at them right now. We didn't have our offense intact like we're going to have it right now. D'Lo played horrible. Couldn't get nothing out of him in that series last year. We're going to get something out of him in this one if he steps into his confidence like he's supposed to. These are things that I'm looking for the Lakers to do. If D'Lo doesn't play well, it's fine. We got other guards we got to turn to make things happen. But what we cannot do is get into a space where we're slumping our shoulders because we miss a jumper and they hit two. You know, that type of stuff. It is the difference. Everybody and their grandma believes that the Denver Nuggets are going to beat us. But if we believe the Denver Nuggets are going to beat us and start doing things in the moment that get us beaten, then we will solidify the fact that we'll get beat rather than do what you need to do to overcome what's coming at you. And so a lot of it has to do with the team's mentality, and a lot of it has to do with Darvin Ham's management of these basketball games. We love what he did in the final game of the season, calling certain timeouts against the New Orleans Pelicans. We appreciated how he managed that basketball game. If he doesn't do that in the playoffs, or if he doesn't see the fruit in doing that in the playoffs, it's going to cost us basketball games, especially against a team that's known for going on runs. They're going to score a lot. They're going to have your 20-6 run. It's happening. It's Denver Nuggets. It's supposed to. So if you don't call a timeout and stop the bleeding in those situations, believe me, it's going to be bad for you. This is what it is. This is an NBA champions we're going up against. You know, this is the MVP several times over you're going against. So not being defeated mentally when he does what he's prone to do, and not allowing yourself to do the things that make you self-conscious, or that insinuate your self-consciousness in a negative way, is important. Don't throw possessions away. You know, and I'm going to say something, singling out a particular player. Austin Reeves is really important in this series. Over the last couple of weeks, one thing I've noticed about Austin that I don't like is how he's been forcing certain passes, turning the ball over. Against the Denver Nuggets, I'd imagine with them being a much better defensive team than they've been in any years in the past, a guy like KCP, he's going to read your bad passes. You got to make good reads on your passes, Austin. Good reads, brother. And the coaching staff and Bron and them are going to have to help him with that. Show him footage of where he's gone wrong. Because if that rears its ugly head, Denver will make you pay for every mistake you make. Just like every NBA champion is capable of doing. Any mistake you make, any bad read, could be the difference. And we know most of the games we play against this team is close. So if you want to beat a team that plays perfect ball, you got to understand that every possession matters on both sides of the floor. That quality possessions matter on both sides of the floor. And that every score that is made throughout the first 3 quarters leads to whatever is going to happen down the stretch of the basketball game. So if you're going to be tight in the final 5 minutes of the game, you might as well be tight in the first 35 minutes or 30, however many games, how many minutes it is in a game, 48 minutes. You better be tight for the first 43, because everything that you do, every technical free throw that you miss or that you give to the other team is going to count toward the tightness of the basketball game down the stretch. And against a team like that, that's what matters. So this is about the mentality. It's just as much as it is about X's and O's. Are you going to be able to expect the good that the Denver Nuggets do for themselves? Hitting 5 and 6 straight shots in the final 6 minutes of a basketball game. Are you ready for that? Be ready for that. Be ready for that. They have all the confidence in the world against you. Be ready for that. Tell yourself they're going to do that and that you are going to respond before they get to that point. That way, when it happens, you're not sitting there shell-shocked, slumping your shoulders, because you're never going to win that way. You're never going to win that way. Your mentality and your body language has to match not only what it is that's coming at you, but what it is that you already anticipate, knowing that you're playing against a good team. Anybody that ever wanted to beat the old Lakers in the Shaq era could not be dejected by the fact that Shaq two-hand jam on their center. Because they was definitely not going to do what they needed to do to execute on the other end if they were dejected or shocked by that. Can't be shocked by that. So that's what I want to tell you guys, man. Let's get our head together. This fell off your truck, bro. It's keys. Fell off your truck. Oh, you got it, man. And so we want to make sure that we get our heads together as it pertains to what we're expecting to happen. We want to make sure, very sure, that our team is expecting the good that the Denver Nuggets are going to do. Expect it. Jokic is going to get his double-digit assists. Jokic is going to push AD around and win some of those rebounding battles. We're going to need our guards. People like Taurean Prince. And Taurean knows he's not the greatest rebounder historically, but he has to crash the glass every night in this series. I don't care if he has a cold night shooting the ball. I don't care that he may not be able to stay in front of a Jamal Murray or that Porter may hit a couple threes over his outstretched arms. All of that I can live with. He may even turn the ball over on a bad pass here and there. I can live with that. What I want him to do is attack his rebounding deficiency and rebound the ball and help AD and help the other rebounders on this team. Help them rebound the ball, man. Because if you can close defensive possessions or get us offensive second chance points, you give yourself the best chance to offset the offense that the Denver Nuggets are inevitably going to throw at you. Inevitably going to throw at you. Remember, we're already thinking that they're going to score 7 or 8 straight shots in a row in the final 6 minutes of the game. So what we do leading up to that determines how well we're doing in those moments. So every offensive rebound is important. Every defensive rebound is important. And look, we just got to let Jokic score, man. We can't double off of a passer, bro. You can't do it. You got to leave your defender on Jokic and play the pass, because 9 out of 10 times he would rather pass the ball. He's going to score, and make him do so. Turn him into a scorer. I would rather Jokic walk away with 38 points, 7 assists, than 25 points, 17 assists, y'all. Because if he's getting his team in rhythm, which is what he does, you're going to lose. And sometimes he's going to get his 13 assists off. That's what he does. But you got to make those very, very difficult, and you got to force him into turning the ball over in certain situations. He's going to make fantastic reads. Don't be dejected. He's a genius. It's Magic Johnson, Steve Nash. He's going to make magical passes. It's not a thing for a great player to make great plays. It is a thing for you to slump your shoulders when he does it and not come back and attack him on the other end. Hunt fouls. Hunt fouls. Take charges. Take charges, hunt fouls. And respect Aaron Gordon and KCP. Obviously we do. We know these guys, but in a different way. Last year in the series against them, we let Aaron Gordon go off for a 30-point game. If I'm not mistaken, we let KCP go off for a big game. We have to respect those guys and stay ever so on them. I don't want KCP having a 5-6-3 game, man. None of these games that they should have. No one of these 7 games should KCP be going off for 6 and 7 threes. You're not going to win that basketball game. You're not. Throw different looks at Jokic, man. Unless you find something that works. We don't really have anything that really works against Jokic. I know our coach likes putting Rui on Jokic. It doesn't work, bro. I don't mind doing it here and there to give him a different look, but don't expect any success in that situation. He doesn't hurt Jokic at all. That only worked for like one possession at the beginning of like one basketball game. It ain't worked since. It doesn't work. But I don't want Anthony Davis on him all the time. He's going to basically cook anybody anyway. So you just kind of have to live with that. But throwing as many looks at him as possible and putting as many elbows and knees in him as possible is probably best, especially early in the series. You want to wear him down if at all possible, because you best believe they're going to try to wear AD down. Also, AD, please, bro, please, if you see my video, please consider what I'm telling you. The Denver Nuggets are not stupid. They understand you had an eye injury, bro. They also understand you had a back injury. Plan accordingly. Because if you get knocked out of one of these games, believe me, you might as well just give them the game. That's over with. You won't win the basketball game that you're not a part of, AD. We can't beat them without you, bro. We can barely beat them with you, as we can clearly see. So if you're not wearing goggles, or if you're not getting proper rest, or if you're not eating properly throughout the course of this series, it could be the difference. In fact, it will be the difference. Wear the damn goggles, bro. I've been very disappointed in him not wearing those goggles, knowing how susceptible he is to being knocked out of the game with these eye injuries. Wear the goggles, bro. It ain't difficult. You put them on, and you do the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy thing. They play with goggles, you can play with goggles. Play with goggles, bro. And eliminate the opportunity for players like Aaron Gordon to bop you in the damn eye and kick you out of one of these basketball games. Wear the goggles. So those are the thoughts that are on my mind right now. There are plenty more. I'm pretty sure are coming right now, I'm thinking. And honestly, I just want us to approach these games properly, expect what is inevitable, which is the Denver Nuggets being favored in every basketball game, playing well down the stretch of every basketball game. If you expect it, it won't deject you. Because what the Denver Nuggets are counting on is them being able to steal our soul in the first couple of games on the road by doing the same damn thing they've done for the last 9 straight games, which is beat us down the stretch of the last 6 minutes of these basketball games. Be ready for that. Execute better down the stretch. Have the confidence that the shots that you hit in the first 42 minutes can be the same shots you hit in the final 8 or final 6, whatever the math would be. And I promise you, you will get different results, because at the end of the day, they've been able to out-confidence you, which turns into better execution down the stretch. When they really have those players, but so do we. Bron and AD need to execute better down the stretch. We need quality possessions. And Bron needs to not be afraid to drive in the paint. That's what we didn't have last year in the series against the Denver Nuggets, was his ability to drive at them the way that he drove at the Pelicans. We need that. We need him to get as many easy buckets as possible and draw as many fouls against these guys as possible. Anybody getting in foul trouble for the Denver Nuggets is a positive for the Lakers, because they don't have the greatest bench. Now, their bench has been known to elevate. Guys like DeAndre Jordan, Christian Brown, they've been known to elevate their game. We understand they're NBA champions, so if they play well, we won't be dejected. We just know we have to play well to beat them. They're the champs. So that's really what it comes down to. Hello? That's what it really comes down to. You got to beat these guys at what they do, which is executing better than them. Execute better than them. And when you do so, understand that you can do it again. Because at the end of the day, the Denver Nuggets are a good defensive team, but they're not an amazing defensive team. So you should be able to pick your spots and get your spots off and get your shots off. This is my thought. Aaron Gordon in foul trouble can help a little bit. Although I do trust their power forward off the bench. Watson, that's the one I couldn't remember. Peyton Watson. Very good player. A very, very good shot blocker. I'd like to see more of him than Aaron Gordon. I'd like to test that young player out. See if he can handle the bright lights, especially here in LA where he played college ball. His stomach should be a little tight. Unlike the rest of the team, he didn't have that role last year. This is his first time. So exploit him if at all possible. And if it's not possible, tip your hat, because he really is a good player. And I like him a lot. But we got to test him out. He don't have that experience. He was on the team, but he wasn't playing. This is his first real playoffs. So test him out. Get Gordon behind off the floor and test that young fella. Get him in foul trouble. Exploit him. Isolate him and try to see if you can draw fouls against him where it may not be possible against some of these other savvy dudes. Salute to Kobe Minute. I'm telling you guys, this series is winnable if we withstand the mental struggle of being dejected against this basketball team. It's winnable. It should take 7 games to do it. But if you can capture the mental edge somehow, or catch them off guard with them believing that you're going to come in defeated before you start, you may be able to steal some games you ain't got no business winning this series. And that's what it's going to be required. Stealing games that you have no business winning. With them maybe getting a 10-point lead, you coming back and winning it because you executed down the stretch very well, and maybe they missed some shots. This is the type of stuff we're going to need to have happen if we're going to win this series. And house money is ours, man. Nobody expects us to even get a game in this series, bro. Let's just be honest. Some people will be very pleased if we just get one game against the Denver Nuggets. But I'll tell you, if you can get one game against the Denver Nuggets, you should be able to get two. If you should be able to get two, then you should be able to get three. If you should get three, then you definitely have a chance to win the series. House money's ours. Nobody's expecting us to win. Nobody's putting their money on the Lakers to even get a game, man. House money. They expect you to come in defeated. They expect for you to roll over. They expect for you not to play well at all. They expect for you to execute poorly down the stretch. They expect to make every shot they take. They expect all types of positivity, because that's what happens when you beat a team as many times they beat us in a row. But what I know is we didn't play all that great in any of those games, and they beat us the same damn way almost each and every time. And that was better execution down the stretch. And a lot of times we were just doing stuff we had no business doing, and a lot of times we had big leads in those games that we ended up coughing up. If this team was so damn dominant, how come we can look back on some of them games and see 11-point leads, 12-point leads during the game? I was looking at just Jason Timp's content today, and he was going over old footage of us in the playoffs against them last year, and old footage of games where we had big leads in some of those moments that he was showing us, where we were making mistakes, like putting the wrong players on the floor and stuff like that. And it's like, I look up and I'm saying, so you trying to tell me that we were up by 12 in that moment against this team? You look up and the next clip he shows you you're up by 7. It's like, wait a minute. If this team's so damn dominant, how come I look back on the past and see so much Laker leads? And it's because we keep getting beat the same way. The same way, the same way, the same way, the same way. And I'm telling you, the difference between now and then should be us doing things better throughout the course of 48 minutes and weathering their storm of them shooting and hitting shots down the stretch. They're going to move the ball around. Look for the extra pass. That could be where the steal's at. Look for that extra pass. Jokic always wants to pass. We should be able to get some steals if we're focusing on him passing 90% of the time. Sure, he's going to score, but he wants to pass. He is a player who would prefer to have 30 assists than 60 points. I promise you. He wants to pass. The way he views the game is get rhythm passes off for my players. Rhythm passes in their pocket. Catch you off guard, make you make a mistake. These are things we need to be prepared for. And weather the storm when those mistakes are made. Simple. Weather the storm better than you have against the Denver Nuggets in any of those games. And you will steal games in this series. And all we need is a little bit of success. A little bit of success to propel us to where we need to go. Need we not forget who's on our team. LeBron James. He has beaten teams that he's gotten beaten by in the regular season. Golden State won 73 games one year? And still lost to him in the finals? I'm sorry, but if I'm Jokic, I ain't getting no easy rest against that guy like that, especially when I know last year he could barely drive in the paint because of his foot injury. He don't have that problem this year, Jokic. You don't have that problem this year, bro. You know who you're going against. While everybody else thinks it's impossible for the Lakers to win, Jokic knows better. I promise you Jokic knows better. He's too intelligent for that stupid stuff. I promise you. All we need to do is take care of what it is we need to take care of, man. And that is playing good defense and having good offensive possessions throughout the course of the meat and potatoes of every basketball game, so that Denver has more to come back from, more of a problem in regards to margin for error. We need to close their margin for error against us. They leave us no room for mistakes. We need to leave them no room for mistakes. If they're going to hit every shot down the stretch of these basketball games to beat us, that should be what is required to beat us. They've proven they can do it time and time again. Make them prove they can do it again, and again. By putting the pressure on them. Pressure. And look, I said this last year. I don't know if the team did this. It's probably a little late for that anyway. But they should have probably been in Denver as soon as that game ended against New Orleans. You want to get up there to that altitude very, very quickly so that you can adapt to it and ultimately have the best chance against the team that's used to that altitude. You do not necessarily want to get up there last minute and expect to be able to outrun them. That's not real. A lot of people think that altitude is not a thing. It most definitely is. It may not affect everybody the same way, but the majority of people it affects in a very negative way. And we need to respect that. And in my opinion, getting up there as soon as humanly possible is the only way to really adapt your body to it. We should have been up there already. If we're not there, we're doing something wrong. So that's really what comes to mind, man. I'm excited about this series because I really want my respect. As a fan, as a Laker diehard of 30 years. The Denver Nuggets, when I first started watching basketball, the two worst teams in the league the year I started paying attention to standings were the Nuggets and the Celtics. The two best teams in the league right now, arguably, were the worst teams when I first started watching. I do not have respect for the Nuggets, bro. Not at all. I respect what they put together with the unit that they have in this era, but as an organization, there should be no reason why at any point in time they call themselves Laker Dally when they only have one NBA championship and it was garnered last year. They are nobody's daddy, fam. They're nobody's daddy. I went to a Laker Nuggets game. Nick Van Axel's first game back after being traded to the Nuggets. The Nuggets were one of the worst teams in the league that year. He went for 40 points. You know who won the game? The Lakers won the game because the Lakers always beat the Nuggets. When I was a young man, we played against the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. Do you know who won the series? We won the damn series. Carmelo Anthony couldn't beat us. In the bubble, when we played against the Nuggets, who beat who in the Western Conference Finals? Who was on the floor? Murray, Jokic, Porter. Some of the same core, same coach. They call themselves Laker Daddy, but the series is 1-1 as it pertains to who's beating who to get to the championship. We're 1-1. How you are daddy? You beat us in the regular season? What does the regular season mean to teams that are going for the championship? You beat us once in the Western Conference Finals. We beat you once in the Western Conference Finals. Where's the daddy at? If we're measuring things properly, where's the daddy in? I see 1-1. That's what I see. And so that's why I don't believe I should be giving them all this respect while they disrespecting me. My memory goes back too far. My understanding is too vast as it pertains to what domination truly means. I watched Shaq and Kobe get 3 straight championships. We didn't call teams that aren't their daddy. We weren't nobody's daddy. You understand what I'm saying? They have low expectations for their organization, which is why they get 1 championship, think they somebody's daddy. They ain't won nothing. They got a long way to go before they can actually say they're even in our level. They got a long way to go before they can even get to the Bulls and the Warriors level. How they are daddy, fam? And that's why I want this team to get our respect back. Because we shouldn't be fighting for our respect with the freaking Lakers. We got 17 NBA championships. 1 in 2020. It ain't even been that long. So for this team to be our daddy, that's a mental edge that they haven't earned. Win a couple games in the regular season, get 1 Western Conference Finals. You think you're somebody's daddy, man? Please, man. You haven't done enough. The bar is set too low for them to be sitting up here on high. And that needs to be understood. It's not enough Laker fans saying that because they're too busy trying to duck them. I'm scared. Be scared. But understand why you're scared. It's because you're not measuring things properly. They got the mental edge on you. You done had leads in every damn game you played against these clowns. But because you don't believe down the stretch of basketball games, they out-execute you. It's the mental edge that they got you on. And that's what you need to take back. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching. And I'm out.